The best part of any action movie is the car chase. There's just nothing like the thrill of a high-speed pursuit. Watching shiny cars weave in and out of traffic, narrowly avoiding some serious accidents. It's the most exciting thing on earth, except for car chases that happen in real life. Ready to get your heart racing? Let's get it on! Car chases are as much a part of LA culture as Hollywood is, but these guys combined those things in a way nobody had before. Instead of putting a car chase into the movies, they put the movies into the car chase. They stole a convertible, put the top down like any self-respecting Hollywood producer, and set off on a tour of LA's landmarks while showing off in the process. Can you think of anything more iconically Los Angeles than doing donuts in a stolen Mustang on Hollywood Boulevard? I can't. These guys had a showman in them and wanted to let it out. Eventually, they just decided to stop, but they took a moment, as all great performers do, to take selfies with the fans and pose on their sports cars before calmly handing themselves over to the police.
Fortunately for police, the two surrendered without resisting and with no reported injuries.
On the list of weirder crimes that police have had to deal with, this one must be pretty high. Police were called out to investigate a domestic disturbance, which is probably quite run-of-the-mill usually, but this time, for some strange reason, a guy dressed in nothing but his underwear decided to steal an ambulance. We'll probably never know why, but he seemed really serious about it. It led to a chase through the streets of Philadelphia that lasted more than an hour. Even the ambulance thief looked like he wanted to give up at one point when he pulled into a parking lot and opened the door, but he decided against it and took off again. He looks like he thinks he's playing bumper cars with police cars, and eventually drives down the street with sparks flying out around him because he's got no tires left, and he still looks like he doesn't want to stop. Finally, police managed to physically drag him out and onto the road, still in just his underwear. It's not a good look.
Strip finishes the job. The ambulance comes to a stop on Tolbert Street.
Speaking of brazen criminals, you'll never believe this guy. He carjacked a truck with a woman and they sped off into the distance at a crazy 110 miles per hour. That's when the police chase took part. And it was a serious chase, with the truck hitting the police car several times in an attempt to escape. But it didn't quite go the way the thieves planned. Instead, they went off the road and crashed into the desert in a dramatic cloud of smoke. The man took off on foot, but bizarrely looks like he's turned around and is running toward the cops. It looks so odd you'd think he must have made a mistake, or that maybe he can't see them, but then you realize what he's doing. He's stealing the police car right out from under their noses. Then he took off again and the chase went on for another 20 minutes before the police finally managed to corner him and get their car back.
And on foot, gonna run, he's gonna give up. You see right there, it's a Ventura County Sheriff.
There are two kinds of criminals, the ones who sneak around under the cover of darkness hoping to never be seen, and the brazen ones who are just out to taunt the police even if they did nothing wrong. This guy was stopped for reckless driving, and you'll soon realize why. He sped away from the cops, reaching speeds of 100 miles per hour, and then decided to kick it up a notch and started doing stunts on his bike, like standing on the seat while it was moving. The cops probably would have loved it if he had fallen off, but he didn't. He just made a couple of rude gestures at them and kept going. Eventually, he pulled into a gas station and surrendered to police, who charged him with driving on the wrong side of the road. I guess there's no law against doing stunts on a public road.
I just want to say that I love my family and my two baby girls, and I'm sorry I disappointed them in the middle of all.
If we've learned anything from the longboard, it's that you should definitely only choose escape methods that are actually faster than running. That should be obvious, but apparently not. This car thief had a slightly better idea for a great escape, even if it was lucky. After this dangerous high-speed chase through Charlotte, North Carolina, and narrowly missing several other cars, he was brought to a sudden stop when a train crossed his path. Instead of panicking though, he saw an opportunity. After all, the very thing that had gotten in his way was just another form of high-speed transport. So instead of sitting in his stolen car and waiting for the police, who were now gaining on him, he got out and jumped onto the train instead, and it actually worked. He did escape the police. Well, for a moment anyway. They did catch up with him eventually, but still, hey, it was a good idea.
All we had to do was follow the train, CJ.
People have gone to great lengths to invent ingenious ways to escape police. So what brilliant escape method do you think you're going to see this guy use in his attempt to escape when his stolen car runs into a dead end? After all, it was a daring high-speed car chase. He must have something amazing up his sleeve, or just the longboard. He doesn't even seem to be able to ride it very well, and he knows it. He only rides it a few feet before deciding it's actually just better to run into oncoming traffic. He definitely would have been faster just running. He doesn't know he's about to run into a hero in a red truck though. Running can't save him from this unidentified Superman though. Who is this masked vigilante? Lou Pizarro from Operation Repo. No, seriously, it actually is. I'm not joking. Bet you didn't see that coming. Oh, nobody did.
33-year-old Jesus Zamora was charged with auto theft. Police recovered the skateboard, presumably for evidence, though an officer did play footsie with it.
I'll bet there are many GTA fans watching this video, so this one's for you. This van thief led police on a wild chase through the streets of South LA for a heart-stopping 40 minutes. He somehow managed to get out of every corner he found himself in and just kept going, occasionally driving around in circles as is the GTA tradition. Red lights? He doesn't care. He just keeps going at the same speed. 6 crashes with civilian drivers? That's no problem for him, even though he seems to be missing the front of the van. What about crashing head-on into a police car? That would stop anyone, but not this guy. All it did was make him back up a bit before he kept going. Not even driving over several spike strips was enough to stop him. It just slowed him down slightly. Well, almost. He eventually stopped because he had no tires left, but the thing that finally did him in was a slippery sidewalk. That's embarrassing.
Him in, so he slips and falls, and that's what did him in. The LAPD able to swarm this guy basically and bring this to an end. Wow.
When you think of police chases, they usually happen in a stolen sports car. They're fast and can be easily maneuvered. They're perfect. For some reason, this woman opted to steal a motorhome instead. You don't often see RVs in a car chase for good reason, as she found out when she couldn't turn sharply enough to avoid a tree and took nearly the whole side off the vehicle. At that point, I would give up. The thing isn't worth stealing anymore, but she's obviously not in her right mind. Nobody sane would put their dogs into a stolen RV, but that's what she did. It's not really surprising that the one dog jumped out. Anyone would want to escape an RV traveling at 60 miles per hour on city streets. She hit 7 cars along the way, but luckily nobody had any life-threatening injuries, not even the dogs. There's no word yet on why she decided to do that, but at least we now know the lucky number of crashes to stop a driver of a stolen RV is 7. As we've clearly demonstrated, car chases are wild, dangerous, nail-biting episodes, but all this adrenaline can tire you out, so I'm going to help you calm down with another car chase. Trust me. You might be surprised to hear that this footage hasn't been slowed down. This actually happened. This guy was caught with some stuff in his car the police really shouldn't have seen and sped off to escape, but then realized how scared he was and slowed right down to 10 miles per hour. The police decided it was in their best interest not to try some dangerous maneuver to get him to stop and tried to talk him down instead, which they could do because he kept calling them on his cell phone to tell him how scared he was. The chase lasted a mind-numbing 45 minutes, and they covered a grand total of 3 miles. If that won't help you drift off to sleep, nothing will.
Suspect's car, causing it to slam into a concrete median. SWAT officers swarmed the suspect.
If you're a kid with no experience driving, it's probably not a very good idea to steal a car. This 15-year-old is here to show you why. He took the stupidity up a notch by not just stealing a car, but a bus, and creating a full-blown police chase. Luckily, no children were on the church bus, but a bus being driven by someone who can't really drive would have rightly frightened other drivers. Anyone would be worried if they had to drive near a bus that's swerving all over the road like this one. It looks like he actually manages to hit every single barrier he gets close to. Then, just to kick it up a gear, he speeds across a road into oncoming traffic. Really, with the way he's driving, it looks like he's lucky the bus didn't just tip onto its side. He finally stopped when he drove head-on into a police vehicle. Yeah, that'll do it.
And we're able to put him in handcuffs and pull him out.